Because we were so fresh, there wasn't really an idea. We were lucky. With the benefit of hindsight, it's the honest truth.
I mean, 30 years after India became independent, the best produce was still going abroad, and that there was this new design sensibility happening, but there was no room for it.
And I'm like, no, it's got to stop. And the whole world came here because our standards here were brilliant. And if we are to create those standards again, then it is important for people here to understand quality and to take it to the next level. Behind factory walls, there were things of great standard being produced for the Western market. And I said, you're producing all these beautiful things for the West, so why don't you sell them here? Don't you think that if you produce it in this country, you should be entitled to it?
One word, very emotional, very nostalgic. We all started our careers here. It feels like yesterday. I mean, it's 25 years ago, but it's unreal. It changed the face of retail for both the designer, the garment, and retail as an industry. When I came back from London, I wanted to start my label. And the first guy I met here was Tarun Tahiliani. And I said, dude, I want to become a designer. What do you think? And he actually saw my portfolio. And he said, man, start right away. I said, how do I start? I don't have machines, I don't have tailors. I don't even have a label. And he actually helped me set up. And he says, make a label. And I just signed on my label. And that was the beginning of my career.
It's an incredible mix of entrepreneurship, love for aesthetics, history. What Ensemble brought back is luxury into design. It's not just that you're giving me fabulous clothes to wear, you're actually grooming and mentoring an industry. The story of Ensemble for me is the story of Indian fashion.
There's no better way of responding to needs than design to create solutions. I think it's very important that you design for your reality and the people and the life you lead. We live in now and we are influenced by the world. And if our country doesn't feel current and hip, then everyone's going to jump ship. The first step is that at least Indians should have access to the best.
Tonight is because of Tinal Tahiliani Parikh. It's now my sister's baby.
I happened to come back on a leave of absence at that time because at that point I was a banker in the United States. And I always said to myself, this is what my creative brother does. I don't, this is too frivolous for me. I'm a very serious person. Suddenly, the whole frame of reference, Manmohan Singh's liberalization happens, the change in India, but honestly, it's about feeling proud of who you are. like a week or two later, he said to me, Tina, I'm going back to FIT. And I said, how can you do this? I mean, you're leaving me with this? I mean, this is not something I understand.
What can I say except we love you both very much. See, I started working with Ensemble in 91, and I think for me it was a personal connect besides a professional connect, and I don't think so one has ever looked back after that, because in those days an ensemble show meant you were dictating terms set for fashion.
I think it was a need, it was a want, it was the right time. Maybe a little forward. We were all a little forward for that time, but I mean, it was the right time to begin. And thanks to people like Tarun Tahiliani who had the foresight to open stores like Ensemble, which is where it all started really. If it wasn't for Ensemble, this would maybe not even have happened.
All of them were just started with Ensemble, and I remember Abu Sandeep and Tarun and Rohit Bal. At that time, there was Rohit Khosla. I used to think that would my clothes ever be there? And thought that one day, maybe I will also be among all the senior designers to be in Ensemble, because for me, I think it's iconic in a sense that it's one of the first stores in India which kind of forecasted the change. It's got a certain identity. And it's maintained that.
I remember coming to Ensemble, trying to understand fashion. I would walk through on a hot summer day, looking at the clothes and saying, okay, this is what designers do. And I remember Tina and Tarun being there and looking at me and saying, who's this hot, sweaty girl walking into our store? There was great foresight on the part of Tina and Tarun to do this, because today every little town has a multi-designer store. And it's the first step to becoming an international brand.
I still think it's the chicest multi-brand store there is. The only time you found beautiful clothes was at Ensemble. I think they're doing a great job with sort of new age dressing in terms of what modern Indian women want to wear.
It just was a total burst of colors, strange, different, things that you never dreamt you would wear, you wore. It was incredible. We started changing and living Indian lifestyle in a different way.
Thanks to people like Tarun and Rohit, it wasn't only the designers and everyone else, but the whole industry evolved. One day I got this phone call and they said that it was for Ensemble. I was really, really excited about it. From the minute it started with designers, it was like they wanted to make an impression and do it their way. Fashion always wanted to make a statement through shows.
We used to have an office like this where people would just come with their collections and show it to us, and we would not just say yes or no, but we would say no, but if you do this, this and this, then come back to us. So it was a slight mentoring program also. If I see something beautiful, to this day I get excited, you know, and I get very excited about, then I go back to what is your business plan and where are you selling and what are you doing and how are you doing this, you know. I just see it as an incubator.
We came here and stepped inside this beautiful wooden store with clothes on beautiful wooden hangers that one had never seen before. I think it changed the way people dressed, the way they viewed fashion. And I think with mentors like Tarun and Tina, it started off a movement in the fashion industry which is still going on today. The gap that Ensemble filled, what it did, the statement that it made was, it said that there was an importance to the Indian designer. It wasn't about traveling abroad and buying clothes. There were people in our own country that created unique expressions of fashion. And it was a one-stop shop for fashion, for luxury. Also, when you walked in, there was a feel of luxury. It's almost like the air in the store had a special fragrance, and the fragrance was of progress. It was about being, you know, a pride in Indian design, Indian fashion, and one could see what designers of the time were doing, the language they were speaking, and I think that was a very, very special thing.
It's easier for me to choose my garments when they are spaced out well, when I have very warm, welcoming salesperson. Right from the new designers to the most established designers, I found the overall choice to be extremely aesthetic. So that for me is a special experience.
I've had a 25-year learning, and a learning by falling on my face. Bang, 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 bang. And that's actually had a nose like him, but it's got flat.
I think it's really lovely to see, you know, them as siblings and how they've blossomed and grown and embraced fashion. I love the fact that Tina is making a huge effort to bring a lot of labels back into the store that are into fashion revival and doing, you know, a lot of things related to handicraft in India, and just beautiful work that doesn't necessarily have to be hugely and crazily embellished. Ensemble play a very important role because I think on a lot of levels, Ensemble is this country's window to that story. And I think it'll be interesting to follow Tina and Tarun and see how they actually bring certain traditional dress in a fashionable way back into the forefront.
It's about empowering women to find their own style. It's about allowing women to celebrate fashion in the true sense of the word. For me, what I look forward to most from Ensemble and from Tina and Tarun next is many more ensembles, many more young designers, many more careers being made, and many more women falling in love with fashion.
And it reminded you that you can afford it. It can be part of your life, whether you're going to a wedding or you're going to a work appointment or you just want to feel good about yourself. Ensemble reminded you to be a woman again.
Next is going to be a very significant event and we're going to open it to the public because it doesn't matter. People should see and be inspired to find quality at whatever level in their life, to find inspiration of how they should dress or ideas that they can relate to and take from, and on from there. That's what we're going to do next.
For me, it's about the Indian subcontinent, which includes Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and Pakistan. These are the countries that I am proud of, and this is what I want to get across to my customer. And it's done with our fabrics, with our designers in our karkhanas. Except, yes, there's a consciousness of cut that's crept in. Through this journey of being exposed to the beauty of what India is able to create and how the modern Indian mind is able to interpret it. And I have, in my own way, tried to give that back to our customer.
We've done mad stuff as we could put sugar syrup in our hair.
Yeah, and they could, and it was so wild because the poor models couldn't wash it off. There was so much fucking sugar syrup in their hair.
He was the fit model because he was so thin. He used to sit on the floor and a chatai and he used to walk up and down. In those.
You just want to feel